In the 1980s, a new road was built to join the M5 to Barnstaple and North Devon, called the North Devon Link Road, or the A361. Its construction between the villages of Sampford Peveril and Uploman required a great deal of work in moving soil and cutting through the bedrock in order to create an acceptable gradient for the new road. Upon completion, two cuttings were formed between these villages, with wide and gently sloping embankments. It would seem that no attempt was made to enrich the soil on these embankments, or to plant them up apart from a line of trees along the top. This poor soil proved to be ideal to be colonised by native wildflowers and grasses, which became established over the course of the next 2 decades. Since the 1940s, 97% of wildflower-rich meadows in the UK have been lost as farming methods have changed. Amazingly, and probably unintentionally, new wildflower meadows were created along the sides of this busy A-road. These two sections came to the attention of a group of naturalists in Sampford Peveril early in the 2000s, when a profusion of butterflies was observed there during the summer months. On closer inspection, these insects and many others that had colonised the new meadows were species that are now seldom found in or are completely absent from the surrounding countryside. The conditions had been just right for them to move in, as their previous habitat had become more and more hostile for them. In 2011, a privately made documentary was filmed about these two sites and the wildlife that had made a home there. This created awareness locally and further afield about the importance of such sites, and the Sampford Peveril ones in particular. Since the film was made, a survey of the two embankments has recorded over 100 species of wildflowers and over 20 species of butterflies and day-flying moths. But rather than the number of different species, it is actually the abundance of wildlife here that makes the sites so special. At their peak in June and July, hundreds, if not thousands, of butterflies and moths can be seen at any one time, more than at any other site within a very wide radius. Grasshoppers, beetles, bees and bugs can be seen everywhere too. For this reason, it is considered to be an extremely valuable habitat, although the absence of any especially rare species meant that it did not qualify for special environmental protection. There are, however, spectacular species which particularly attract people's attention. Large numbers of pyramidal orchids are present, as are narrow-bordered 5-spot burnet moths, which fly during the day. In fact, the Sampford Peveril sites are the southwest stronghold for this stunning moth, being the first place in Devon that the species was recorded. It exists here in vast numbers, but now, in common with all the other resident wildlife, it is under threat from lack of site maintenance. Up until 3 or 4 years ago, the sites were managed by cutting once a year by Devon Highways Department, in autumn or winter, with all the cuttings being removed. This worked well, but they've not been managed since then, with the inevitable consequence that they are degrading rapidly. Brambles have moved in, starving the delicate wildflowers and native grasses of daylight. Saplings of oak and ash are now plentiful around the two sites, and will start to shade out the remaining low-growing plants. Once the flora is suffocated by the growth of scrub, all the dependent fauna will die with them, there being nowhere else for them to go. Action is needed if this valuable habitat is to be saved for the future. A plan needs to be made for the maintenance of these two sites and others around the county before it's too late.